What's up, YouTube? It's Ask the Young One with CreateHigherVibrations.com. First off, I want to thank all of the likes, the new subscribers, all of the great comments that I'm receiving on the videos that I've done so far. There's so much appreciated. I guess I could say that, you know, we don't get closure throughout a relationship that we deal with a narcissist on, but we can gain closure through the validation of others realizing and seeing the growth. So that helps a lot, and I want to tell you, each of you, how much I appreciate you for that. It means a ton. This video, I kind of want to, my last video that I posted was about rejection and how the rejection kind of created the crazy making. So in this video, I wanted to jump to what I felt in my situation was the next step, which was basically the rejection was going on during the devaluation stage. And there were subtle and small implements of the smear campaign that was starting. Of course, not understanding narcissistic abuse or not understanding narcissism, you're not going to see it. So until it's done. And that's one reason why I wanted to promote and talk about the smear campaign. If you're starting to be smeared, let me back up. For me, this is kind of how it started for me. I could, going in hindsight, I could see the subtle smearness that was going on, but the true smear campaign didn't start until I was knowingly being discarded. I kind of forced the discard, because it came down to the point that if they're not going to be a loving spouse, they need to go, because it was creating such chaos, like literally within myself. I mean, a person could only take so much of that before they finally tell that person, hey, you gotta go. But what was happening was they were using the rejection during the devaluation stage to create the smear campaign that they were about to implement in the discard phase. Because no matter whether we discard them, they're still discarding us. It's still rolling into their plan to do. So we have to make sure that, even though I said leave, you got to go, they were already doing that, and that's what I had to, again, I had to go in and like heal through that. Not that my ego was like, well, I booted you out. It wasn't like that. That's not, because obviously when you're married and you're in a relationship with somebody that you thought was love, not knowing what you're actually in a relationship with, you don't go into it like, just, for me, I couldn't, like, my perception didn't see it like that. But when it came to the smear campaign, it started in the discard phase. It happened really fast. The information that was being used was what they gained through the crazy making of the devaluation stage, by the rejection, by the silent treatments, by the gaslighting, etc. That was set up to basically, once we were separated, it was set up basically to deny me any type of support. I went from having 35 friends to having 2, and the smear campaign was set up to take away that support system. And that is what they were trying to do. It was set up to frustrate me, because the more I did hear from other people that were really siding with them, but they would still talk to me, but they wouldn't give me any support. But I would hear about what was happening. There was a reason for that too. That's part of the smear campaign. It sets you up for frustration. It sets you up to be able to still control you and manipulate you. It's setting you up because they want that reaction. They want to take, like, the rejection. We thought the crazy making was bad in the rejection phase of the devaluation, but the smear campaign is to continue that, but it's to continue it and show it to the people that they're talking to then make all of them see that what they're saying is correct. And that, like, that's their manipulation in it. That's their goal. So it basically will leave you with not a lot. And again, living in sleepless nights, anxiety, really feeling a lack of control within your own emotions. And it's not an easy task to get control over. You're gonna feel the anger. You're gonna feel, it's like you're reliving the rejection all over, because now you're being rejected by everybody that you ever were with in this time period. And that's what they're wanting from it. But again, the smear campaign always happens when they've discarded you. Like, they're not going to start smearing you completely. Now, they might triangulate people into the devaluation stage, but the smear campaign will start once you are discarded. That is when they know you're done, or they're done, or whatever they flow with in their life. But it's again to gain control. It's again to gain reactions. It is to take away your support system. It is to erode you more. It is another, just another way of the pure rejection. But now they're just doing it on a much higher level. And that, I mean, that's like what I felt through the smear campaign. The other part about the smear campaign, for me, what I gathered was it set up the flying monkeys, because once you're smeared and once they have gathered that ability to control all of the ones that they've smeared you to, so that so that those people no longer support you, then now is prime time for them to swoop in and make them a flying monkey. Well, so they'll, manipulate them. Well, tell me what he's saying. Tell me what she's saying. Can you stay on his social media? Can you, hang out with him one night, or hang out with her one night? See what she says. See what she's doing, and come back and they create the flying monkeys from the smear campaign. So that's what I found so unique about the smear campaign. And it's not unique, but it really is. I mean, when you're studying narcissism at this point, of how they get to manipulate so many other people, and then it creates this other group to now start abusing you even more. And those people might not have any idea that that's what they're doing, but basically a flying monkey is just a narc's bitch, and that's how it works. And so it falls in layers of manipulation, and that's what they're going to roll with. And if allowed, it's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. And so with that, I mean, I wrote a blog about it, so I'm kind of running through my blog. Yeah, it's to really like make you like, okay, so they smear you to everybody that you thought were your friends. Then the friends become flying monkeys, and then the psych effect upon you, unless you're able to like realize it, will start making yourself question yourself, kind of like the gaslighting. It really is a whole nother form of gaslighting. It all kind of runs into the same cycle of how they work. So, you know, if all these people are saying that you're this horrible bad person, then your psych could start telling you that same thing, just like gaslighting does, and make you question your own inner true self, your own inner reality, your own what you actually went through. And the smear campaign with that can create like the hover, where the narc can then come back, and if you're so down and out, they will want to, like, they'll start hovering you. So and you may fall for it, because if you're questioning reality, you might fall for the hover to just get the smear to stop. And that's another point of the smear campaign. But it all comes down to fuel, supply, and control. They want to gain fuel from your frustration, from you being denied any type of support. They want you to lose control, which again gives them emotional fuel, because they're still controlling you emotionally. And that's like the cycle. That's what the cycle rolls with. And it just, the only way to and this is why, like, I love this community so much, because we're all being vulnerable. We're all talking about our lives. We're talking about our situations, and someone out there is going to be in the middle of this, and they're going to watch our videos, and it's going to help them be able to prepare a better way to leave, so that they don't go through the smear campaign. Because if you can recognize what's happening, you can take your support system and advise them, like gather, you obviously, if you have 40 mutual friends and you met half of them through your spouse or your whoever, you're probably going to lose over half of those. And being able to recognize this before you leave will allow you to set that up first, so that the ones you're really counting on can be kind of somewhat prepared for what the narc is about to do, because they're going to do it. And if they're somewhat prepared, they're going to be more real, in their heads, more like, wow, you said that was going to happen, and it did. So, man, no doubt, we got to help and have your back, so you don't lose your entire support system. And that's really my main goal with what I like to, why I talk about this stuff. But is really for the ones that are in that position at this moment. But if even if you are also being in the middle of a smear campaign and you're pissed off because, as an empath, as a good person that lives through heart and integrity, you don't like your name being smeared because they're destroying your character, they are slandering you, they are defaming you, everything else, you have to still stay silent. You can't respond to it, not in any type of emotional way. And that is the only way that you really make the narc lose any power and control through the smear campaign. Because there's another part that's going to come next, Next, depending on the type of relationship, I know in a marriage, the next part is they will attack personally your entire inner character, and they will use any reaction that you gave to any of the crazy making, the smear campaign, to then use in much higher levels, like courts of law, police reports, any other thing that they can use. They will use that to later really attack your character, your inner character. And it's not fun. It sucks. And so anybody that can, if you can just become aware of what's happening, and I know that's just like, say, become aware is like really hard for a lot of people to gather, but at the same time, just know that you're being highly abused. And I did want to share that, and I wanted to put that out there, because that was coming off the rejection and the devaluation, going into the smear campaign. It all sets it all up. So you can kind of, you see the phases of what they're doing, and they're really textbook. Once the more knowledge that you gain and people gain on narcissism, they're textbook. They all do the same things. I appreciate all the comments, and so many of the comments, I read them and I'm like, man, it's, it helps me actually, because I still have to deal with mine, because we have a daughter. But it's still, at least I know I'm not alone, that I didn't just go from being this calm, big-hearted person to losing my mind, and it was me. At least, because this is a huge community, this is a huge epidemic, and it's a work in progress for all involved. So, but I appreciate all the stories. It just, I remember, when I read certain ones, I remember those days. I remember them. They don't control me now, but it just, I remember that experience. And that experience is actually what has kind of guided me into this experience that I live now. And that's another video. So I wanted to post and talk about that smear campaign a little bit, how I saw it. I think the biggest thing about it is they're going to use your vulnerabilities, they're going to attack, and it really, as the phases go, it's what creates the flying monkeys. And depending on the reactions that you give them will depend on the amount of how much they're able to gain on a much deeper level of character assassination, because they will attempt to devalue and just destroy your entire character as to who you are. And they want to do that because they want everyone else to, they want you to lose everybody. They want to destroy everything about you. Especially if you're a awake person, especially if you can see through them, especially if you can do that. They are going to come as hard and test you as hard as they can. So with that said, I'm going to cut this one off because it's 20 minutes now almost. So love yourself first, always, no matter what. If those people don't accept you, ask yourself, does my self-love accept people that don't accept me? Then no, the obvious answer. Don't let it happen. Love yourself first. Take care of yourself, always. Strength and endurance will outlast a narcissist. So Stay true. Namaste.